Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Emoni Reads and Reviews. I am Emoni, and today is Vlogmas Day 5. So, we're going to go ahead and review our fifth Christmas Hallmark movie. All right. So, today we're going to be reviewing A Christmas Melody. So, we will discuss the movie. We'll discuss the character analysis. I'm going to go into details, and then we'll go ahead and do a movie rating. So this movie follows a young mom, a fashion designer who lives in LA, who all of a sudden had to pack up and move her things back to her hometown, Ohio, with her daughter. Initially, neither the daughter or the mom wanted to leave LA, but because the mom had issues with her fashion designer business, she kind of had to pack her things and go ahead and start anew in Ohio. Although her hometown is beautiful, it takes her and her daughter some time to get used to the small town feelings of joy and peace. Character analysis. So Kirsten is the mom and Emily is the daughter. Both of the mom and the daughter took a while to get used to Ohio. Kirsten seems to not be the center of attention in this movie, but she does develop a close relationship with a love interest and helps the children design Christmas costumes for the Christmas show, which we will discuss later on in this video. Emily is very talented and is positive, and she's thrown in for a loop by some mean girls at her new school, but she remains optimistic for herself as well for her mother's happiness. Melissa Atkinson and Sarah. Melissa Atkinson is played by Mariah Carey, who is the mean girl in this movie. She is picture perfect and she can't do any wrong in anybody's eyes. And she's the lead local school PTA meeting person, and she always gets her way. And it's not just in the school, but it seems to be in the town as well. So her and Kirsten kind of butt heads quite often in this movie, and it's only because Melissa is really mean and she really doesn't like that Kirsten came and pretty much starts to change things that Melissa's been doing for years. Now, Sarah is the aunt who is on the right side of Melissa, and she's this really sweet lady who always looks out for Kirsten and Emily, and she even lets them stay in the this beautiful old home that they had when they were growing up. So she really looks out for her, and she owns a diner slash bakery that a lot of the town people go to. Now we have Danny Colliner. Danny is the music teacher at the local school who becomes great friends with Kirsten and becomes her love interest. He also is really kind and is always there for Emily, and Emily begins to ask for a wish for Santa that her mother is happy, and pretty much Danny is going to be that happiness that Kristen can kind of rely on, I guess. So going into details. Kristen and Emily moved back to Ohio when her store closed in LA. They had a tough time in Ohio at first. Kirsten and Melissa didn't get along, and at first, for the sake of the kids, they eventually had to see eye to eye. Melissa was always catty to Kirsten, even at the beginning of the PTA meeting. What she found out that was a Christmas show that Kirsten really wanted her daughter to go to, but I laughed because I remember this part of the movie where Melissa brings up the fact that Kirsten is not married and she's pretty much a single mother trying to do everything. And she kind of mentioned something about, well, you can't have it all. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so dang on catty. Like, it was crazy. So, when Kristen found out about a Christmas program and her daughter and her being like the newest people in Ohio, she just really wanted her daughter to be in the program. And Melissa was trying to shut it down, saying, no, it's too late. It's not enough room for your daughter. Just go ahead and help, but your daughter can't be in the play. So, Kristen was pretty much like, bet, like, we're going to put my daughter in this play. So when Kristen comes into the music room, she spots Danny and quickly knows who she is, and just spots her out right away. But on the other hand, Kristen doesn't know who Danny is, and she he's just a regular face, and she is more concerned about her daughter being in the Christmas program. So Danny has to like remind her, like, hey, I was on, like, I think he said he was in a band or something when he was younger, like like the school bands they have or something like that. But she still remember him. But he did remember that she was playing sports or whatever in high school. But then he started to bring up the Frog Project, and then she started to ring bells, and she's like, "Oh, okay, I remember you." But she still wasn't really interested in him. But I mean, from the looks of it, it probably seemed like she thought he was somewhat attractive, maybe. I don't know. But anywho, after that conversation, she just asked, "Hey, can my daughter join the Christmas program? We just moved back to Ohio." And he was happy to hear that. But they moved back to Ohio, and she asked if it was okay for her daughter to join the program. And he said, "Yeah, we'll find a spot for her. Just go ahead and let her audition." And Emily went ahead and auditioned. So Emily plays a huge part in this movie, and she gets a lot of encouragement from a janitor who looks just like Christmas or just like Santa Claus. And it wasn't really said in this movie that he was Santa, but the way he was dressed, like big stocky guy with the beard, it was like clear as day that this guy was Santa. But he was in disguise, and he really wanted to push the idea that Emily needs to remain positive, and positivity will come back to her, which I really like that. That's a really good concept to teach kids, I suppose. But we're going to be realistic. That may not always work in, real life. But, it's still a great message. So Christian is called out to help for the Christmas program last minute because there were no costumes for the kids. So Kirsten kind of volunteers her time, which Melissa was not happy about because she felt like Kristen was just taking over everything. And because Melissa is so used to having her hands on every aspect of the kids, like holiday specials or whatever, she was not having it that Kristen decided to design all these Christmas costumes. And even her daughter, Melissa's daughter, was really snooty and said, "Look, I don't want any of your costumes. My mom's going to buy me a prettier, nicer costume at the mall." So the girl is just like her mom. So Kristen and Danny get to know each other better and form a really sweet bond. He even comes over to Kristen's home and helps Kristen and Emily decorate their Christmas tree. And while that's happening, they're having such a great time. But Kristen's friend comes over and says, "Hey, we used to work in LA together, but guess what? There's this very well known type of fashion store or fashion designer who's interested in buying Kirsten's clothes, but she has to come back to LA to pitch her idea." So all the fun immediately stops, and Danny has this sad, depressing face on his, like sad smile on his face, and he's happy for Kirsten, but she's just, I guess he's just like sad because he won't be able to see her again. And the feelings are mutual because Kirsten, although this is exciting news, her and Emily are really devastated by this whole thing. And I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all in the movie rating actually, but anywho, going to the next slide. Kristen wanted to know what was doing for the Christmas program, but Emily kept saying it was a secret. So the day the Christmas program comes, and all of a sudden, all the children have these beautiful Christmas costumes on, and Melissa and her daughter tries to start this like whole mess again because they're pretty much jealous of all the kids in these fancy, nice costumes. But Kristen says she would never leave any child out, so she says that she made a costume for Melissa's daughter as well. So this ended up changing Melissa's attitude towards Kristen, and she was just really thankful that Kristen thought about her daughter in that way. So they became, I wouldn't say they became best friends, but what I would say is Melissa started to respect Kirsten and kind of backed off with her attitude. So, even the daughter, Melissa's daughter actually became really nice too. And she was just really thankful that Emily's mom went out of her way to make her this costume. And she appreciated Emily, said thank you, and she actually started to build a really great bond with Emily. And on the side of the corner, and the Christmas, the Santa Claus janitor looks at Emily and the other girl and says, "You know what? Yeah, positivity. You're on the right, on the right track or whatever." So, yeah, positive. If you remain positive, positivity will come, that's great. So the Christmas program is beginning. All the kids are doing these really amazing, like acts or whatever. There's a boy who does like a magic show. There's three girls who do like a Christmas trio, and then they do like other stuff. So in this entire time, Emily, she's kind of preparing for her original piece. And at the same time, Kirsten is looking over at Danny, and Danny, he seems to be, holding everything together, how he truly feels about Kirsten and Emily leaving. He's just holding that in, and he's just doing his job and making sure the Christmas show is going on. So, Kirsten and her friend and Sarah, which is her aunt, they are all talking, and it's kind of like the intermittent time. So they're all talking, and Christian kind of brings up the fact that she doesn't really want to go to LA. She wants to try to stay here and build a business in Ohio. She's already got used to Ohio, and she's really liking the new relationship she's developing, and she really wants to get to know Danny a little bit better. So her friend just kind of cuts her off and says, "Okay, if you really like this guy, go ahead and tell him everything that you're telling us, so y'all can be together, right?" So that ends up happening. So before Emily goes up and do her original piece, Kristen goes and she talks to Danny, and he kind of let her know, like, "Hey, I'm staying here." And Danny and her are really happy about that, and they're smiling. And then all of a sudden, Emily goes up on stage and she does this show-stopping like piece, and everybody in the crowd is just shocked, and everybody's so happy, everybody dancing. It's just like, oh, okay, whatever. That's what happens. And then all of a sudden, like, Kristen turns to Danny, and they're just really, like, Kristen's really surprised, and she's really happy for her daughter, right? But she just kind of leans into Danny, and they do this whole little kiss thing. Yeah. So we're gonna do a movie rating, and the movie rating is a 5. Okay, like, it was a 7 at first, but just like really remembering the movie and like looking through this PowerPoint before I did this video, it was not as exciting as I thought it would be. It was just kind of a movie. It really showcased the daughter more than it did Danny and Kristen's relationship. Like, I'm gonna be real, their relationship seemed more of like a hookup with a happy ending, because it was kind of like so fast. Like, the entire movie was really, really fast. And it was just one of those movies where I did not like the fact that Kirsten, she had this successful business towards the end, but she decided to stay in Ohio because of this guy who was a music teacher. And don't get me wrong, like, music teachers, they doing their thing, and I'm pretty much sure, like, in Ohio, like, the cost of living is not going to be as high as it is in LA, right? But it's just, I think in the movie they mentioned that she may stay here to kind of develop her own business, I guess. But the other thing that was kind of weird was the fact that she kind of packed all her bags, but she didn't really tell her daughter that they were leaving LA. So the little girl was just really sad, like, until, things started to get better. And then she realized she may have to move for a second time because her mom wanted to go back to LA. So I did appreciate that, she kind of let her daughter know, like, hey, it's up to you if you want to go back to LA or stay. And she wanted to stay. So, I mean, yeah, that was great, but this movie was very, very, very fast. It was a very, very fast movie. I think it was probably about an hour and 9 minutes, even at the most. And I will say I loved all the decorations in the movie. You know, Hallmark does an amazing job with these holidays and the homes and everything. I don't know who they have for their interior designers and they're like fashion folks, but they do a really great job. And this movie was not, this movie was just as, you know, pretty as the other Hallmark movies that we're used to seeing. But that is my 2 cents for this movie today. Thank you all for watching. And if you don't mind to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that. And again, thank you all so much for watching Vlogmas Day number 5. And I'm looking forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. But you guys have a great night on this Monday. Have a great night. And bye-bye.